All right. Um, so today we're going to take a short break. So it's the end of the day. I'm tired. So I'm not going to be working on the automations right now. They basically got a few of the parts passing. Actually, it actually works a little bit. Um, so, but I got to solve some problems that are a bit more involved. So at the end of the day, I'm not going to do that. What I'm looking to do is actually get a few quick wins, particularly around how we're rendering some of the user-generated content. So, um, so looking at user-generated content, I think that makes a lot of sense just to support Markdown. For the type of people that I am and who I kind of expect will be using this system, Markdown is probably a great way to give them the ability to do some reasonable markup of their content. I can take a few shortcuts because we're not doing the general, we're not doing a forum where it's kind of like public access, but we're still going to want to be a little bit careful with some of the stuff. So we're going to kind of get into that. But yeah, so let me do this and pull this up. So I'm actually using CRMmy now. I have it set up on a test server, and I've got some notes that I've got. So that's the descriptions that are showing up in here. And this right now is just spitting it out as plain text, but we want to do this a little bit better. So that's where we're going to get into the Markdown support. Yay. All right, so what's that going to look like? So I want to be able to come into here, so for the dashboard, for example, and I want to do something like Markdown and page title. Something like this. And if I do that, it's going to yell at me. Right. So let's hop into our helpers and let's just make a markdown with our markup. And here I'm just going to spit out stuff. All right, that works. Okay. So there's a bunch of different Markdown libraries. One of them that's probably one of the popular ones is Red Carpet. Another one is Markdown. There's a few things that tempt me to use Markdown. It lets me do it lets you put classes on stuff. So if you have your lorem ipsum, if I can type, you can go down here and do class 1, class 2, and this will put that onto the block. That's one of the things that I do really like about that, but I'm not sure which way I want to go. So this is a place where we definitely would want to put in some type of shim in place that lets us kind of swap that out potentially. So I'm going to make a new file in here. I'm going to call this Markdown, and I'm going to make a Markdown module, and in here we'll just do, I don't know, def self dot render Markdown. And here I'm just going to say my Markdown. So in here we actually want to be passing that in. So we'll do Markdown dot render Markdown of our markup. What this is going to do is now we're not really committing to what renderer we're using. So if I do this, then we get my Markdown, so it's working, so to speak. Okay. So for right now, let's just settle on Red Carpet. So I'm going to go bundle, install, or double add Red Carpet, and kill the server and restart the server. And so if we look at what we do have to here, we install Red Carpet, and we need to, actually I'm going to hop over. So looking at some of the stuff for rendering, it's going to end up looking something like this. So in here, we go down to our Markdown. Okay, so we're going to create a renderer, and this is going to, actually for right now, I'm going to just take that all off, show you kind of what happens natively without any options. So we create a renderer, we create our Markdown, and then marked our render, yeah, you know what? I'm going to stop being cute. I am going to call this content through. Okay. Did we restart the terminal yet? Oop. What's going on there? Oh no, okay, that's fine. All right. Markdown that render content. Oh, it's not Markdown as a. Wait, what? Does this have a Markdown? Oh, there's gonna be Markdown everywhere in here. Just for the sake of disambiguating this for a sec. And okay, so we're getting page title, and if I inspect you, it's an H1 page title, so that's working. Okay. So Markdown is obviously being added by Red Carpet. That's fine for right now. Okay, so that does work. So let's actually make this a little bit more interesting, because I think that we can do script alert foo. If I'm not mistaken, ooh, we just blew up our page. That's no good. So that's where we get into this stuff here. So we are going to go into here, and we are going to escape HTML. So we do that. Boop, boop, boom. That's not going to spit it out properly. Okay, that's good. The next thing, so that's basically, so that's what the escape HTML is giving us. The safe links means that you can't link to like something : //. So if I were to leave that off, you could do something funky like, I don't know. You could do something, let's see if I get this right. You could do something like test, and this is going to get : github.com/something. So if we inspect this, this is going to get, and this could be do something really weird, but in this case we want to only do safe links. So that now just spits out the gobbledygook. So that's good. And this is less of a concern for us because we're not doing any kind of public content. But if I come in here and do something like google.com, I inspect this, and this is going to give it a no follow. So that's probably good to do. The other thing that we can do in here is if we just did that this here is just going to give us text. So this has the option to auto link, which now means this is a URL. So this really is the gist of it. The only thing I'd maybe want to do in here is put this instead of just spitting it out, I might do content tag span and put this into a class of, I think it's pros. So if so let's remove this for a sec. So if I go in here and I say this is going to be H1 of home. So we inspect it, we're just getting H1 of home, and the style there is default. But if I go in here and make this pros, this does nothing. Nothing at all. And let me check my tailwind. So we want to have the typography, and so the typography gives us some default styling for pros. I already got that. All right, so we have our typography in here. We have it in here. And if we refresh the pros, we still get nothing. This need to be busted. Can I find module tailwind typograph? Well, that would do it. It turns out that it's really helpful if you read the error message. And let's just build this again and make sure we're not doing something stupid. There we go. So this gives us default styling for everything that's in the pros tag. It gives kind of normal semantics of what you'd expect from an HTML page. Now, one thing that's worth noting, if we go to red carpet and we read the documentation, here's all the options. It's wonderful. No style. It makes a comment in here. Where are you? Here we go. Red carpet markdown object occurs to be instantiated once with required settings and reused. So right now, let's hop into here. So here, we're building a new renderer every single time that we loop through. That's no good. So what we're going to do is, well, let's show what's going on here. So if I come in here and I do puts markdown object, and this is going to be markdown dot. So if we do object ID, this will tell us the actual instance variable name or ID for that object. So if I come here and find the right page and I render things, and then I hop over to the terminal, we can see this is object 63380. And if I render it again, it's 63480, which is fine. Okay. But if I come to the home page and spit this out 3 times and render the page, we've got 560, 580, and 600. So it's creating a new instance every single time that we call that method, which that's no good. So let's go in here and we'll say at markdown or equals begin. And here we'll build that. Okay. And in here, we'll now use that throughout. So if we render, it still works. And if we look, we've got 85, 640, 85, 640, 85, 640, which right now is not a huge big deal, but if we start rendering tons of stuff on the page, which we will, that's gonna be a problem. So that's better. Okay. So, all right. So we're good here. I think that that's reasonable. We're going to remove this because that's just garbage. And all right. So we've got the Markdown thing. We can use that. Let's hop over right now. Let's go to people, go to Joe Blow, and let's add a note. So in here, we're going to say, do stuff, many things we subsection cool beans. And everyone loves Google, so let's do google.com and https random.com. Beautiful note. All right, that looks great. Not. So let's see what's going on here. So 1, we want to render this out much better. 2, we want to render this out with a proper format. 3, we need this note to close when we submit. So let's take care of things one at a time. Okay. So let's hop back over, and this is going to be into the notes note. And looking at this, we have our tasks. So for our tasks, if I can look at the right thing, if I look at task, we can see what this looks like. So we got large overflow text, DOM-ID task, and cool. Looks like I need to make like a panel type thing. So let's get the note as our DOM ID. All right. Hey, that looks better. And our content, we want this to be Markdown. Oh, beautiful. So now we have that. We have the 2 links that are working, and that looks reasonable. Now this does make me say, let's put what is it? Divide y. Divide x. That's weird. It just says divide y, but what's it actually doing? Grid divide y. But it looks like it. Does it need to divide y 0? No, I'm not worried about too much. Let's throw So I want to come back to this. Let's make it slightly ugly. That's fine. Okay. So we've got Markdown. That's working. We've got it styled properly for the box itself, but the note is not disappearing. That's happening because if we go to the Create Turbo Stream, all right, so when we add the note, so we do New Turbo Stream, it appends to that. Let's take a look at the task, New Turbo Stream. So this makes a new task modal that we're adding. So if we go in here and do the same thing, new note, create, we remove the new task modal. Over here in the note, when we create, so we add the highlighter, prepend the note, and I replace that with nothing, which we want to get rid of. All right, let's try that again. So we can go add note, my note, create, and it still didn't work. Why did you not work? New note modal. If I do the right thing, it will help. Add note, another note. Boop. Beautiful. All right. So let's go back and look at this divide. Okay. Divide. That should work. I don't see why that wouldn't. Let's get rid of the ugly style here. That's so weird. Why are you not working? Okay. All right, got padding, and the divide wide, blind, blue. What's a span? What am I thinking? I'm betting that needs to be nope, it's in the helper I'm looking. Let's make that into a div. And there we go. And we also probably want to, that makes it thicker. So we wanted to make the width actually no, sorry. Is that gonna work? Yeah, that's not what I want. Well, that's yeah. I probably should put in padding in it. That's what I'm really looking to do. But that's okay for now. So let's change the color on that. And why are you so narrow? We probably want to get rid of that. It looks like it's a max width on it. Nope. Nope. Oh, the pros. Pros has a max width because you want to have a reasonable reading width. There we go. Okay. Not really liking how that divide looks. After figuring out why it doesn't work, it turns out that we don't even want it. Okay. That, I think, is sufficient enough. Let's commit that in. So let's see what we're doing here. We've got a Markdown tag that looks reasonable. We've got our Markdown model. I don't like the fact that it's called my Markdown. Something to look at. Wrap that into the different border. Fix the modal not working. And add red carpet. Add typography. Add typography. Add typography. Add Markdown support for notes or knots, noties, notos. Okay. So for our descriptions for a task, I think it makes sense to do that too. Markdown task. Please do it. Please do it. Actually, that was interesting. I had to scroll down, and this makes me say we should make a jump to helper. So let's add a task. Make jump to stimulus action. Okay, so let's go and take a look at our task. Task.description. We're going to do Markdown task.description. Please do it. Oof. Spacing on this is kind of gross, but what does this spitting out? Please do it. Yep. Okay. All right. I need to stop before I make too many sound effects. Okay. So what do we do here? We So we really quickly added a Markdown process. With 1-2, we can switch it to cram down pretty easily. All of my code is using that my Markdown module, which means that if I need to make any changes to that, it's not something that's going to have like red carpet scattered all over the place. I don't like that it's named as my Markdown. It's something I'd probably look into to investigate a little more to see what I could do to just call it Markdown or something. But my Markdown is probably okay-ish. We've added support to that for tasks and the notes. Doing a little bit of the investigation for this beforehand, I jumped across the sanitize method, which immediately goes, ooh, we could actually start probably doing pretty easily pulling in HTML emails. I have to look into that because I don't know if that's a good idea or not. So that's something to consider, and that would give me a good tool to kind of tackle it. Rails comes with a sanitize method, which should strip out a bunch of the crap. So that's something I'm considering. Overall, what was that? So half an hour to add Markdown support, have it as a module that gives us shim that protects us from, allows us to swap that out, is great, and definitely improves our notes and what we can do with that. So I think that's what we're going to call it quits for tonight, but I'll see you next time.